Here's what the vice president had to say.
Should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time.
First of all,
oh my God,
the first giveaway is the fact that she can't even look up. Like, that's really,
this is not good.
That's really bad. Like, she can't even look at the interviewer when she's talking. It's this.
She's literally just reading.
It's like she's trying to read these talking points in her head. So
it's so bad. If
you can't stick with any policies, which includes universal health care and the Green New Deal. So let's just scrap all these ideas that some of it is extreme. I'm not talking about universal health care, not even a little bit. But there are things in the Green New Deal that I understand that people look at and say, well, this has really no bearing on whether or not we're able to deal with runaway climate change.
No.
However, the idea that she has completely run away from it, the idea that she is a firm center-right candidate. In fact, I would go so far as to say she's basically a right candidate at this point, because you can't get much more right, or again, it's not even saying right, because I really don't like those terms. It's just basically, you can't get full-blown corporate fascist past genocide. Like, there really is nowhere else you can go. Maybe a nuclear bomb.
This is just pathetic to me. Like, to me, just watching her, she really looks like somebody who, yeah, as a vice president, that works to just do an interview and read talking points. But she, to me, looks so out of her league. That's what this looks like. She looks out of her league.
It was even the little things. It's the little things. Like when Dana was trying to talk to her and she's sitting there like nodding with the big cheesy smile. And I'm thinking, that's it. First of all, that's two things. One, that's disingenuous, and it's nervousness. Like but it's a taped interview.
Well, here's the thing. And I believe that the only times that you're going to see her will always be pre-planned, pre-written, approved questions, and she's not going to take anything that's like off the cuff. That's not going to happen. And at some point, there will be things where she does go off script or she reads a script, and you will see the disaster that this is.
Can I also point out, you've got the liberal media industrial complex going absolute bananas for this idea that Trump is trying to avoid debating her. Are you crazy? The only reason why Trump is considering backing out of the debate is because she wants to control every element of that debate. Who it's being interviewed by, she wants to sit the entire time, and she wants to have notes. That has never been done before in a debate.
And by the way, the fact that this is the first woman running, and this is the message. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot.
All right, talk about leaving a bad impression, and I won't even acknowledge that. I mean,
all right, but the fact that it's just so. It's so inadequate. It's completely inadequate. You're running to be president of the United States, and you can't handle interviews that aren't set up and planned and coddled. If you can't handle that, yeah, you're out of your element.
You can't handle the truth.
No, you're out of your element, Donnie. You're out of your element.
We'll finish this one out, and then we've got one
more.
It's
brutal.
We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America, and by extension the globe, around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed.
Is that why the Biden-Harris administration,
which they never used,
drilled for more oil in less than 4 years than we're going to totally drill for president for 4 years? They have drilled significantly more. than President Trump could have ever hoped.
Again, I don't see how this is going to work.
So how's that helping the environment? I'm just trying to figure that out.
How's that your Green New Deal?
How's that helping? It's not. And I am an advocate, and this is one of the reasons I get along with a lot of libertarians, is because I actually do believe in nuclear power. I believe in Series 4 nuclear power. If you want to get off of coal and natural gas and you want to be able to have a grid that can handle it, at least that is plausible. But this idea that you're going to keep drilling when you know that this is killing the environment, I mean, Debbie Wasserman Schultz approves it because she invests in it.
But like, she's not saying anything because this woman is just a giant platitude salad.
It really is.
She's not saying anything.
Yeah, and people are really tired of this. Like,
no,
really
a lot of people eat it up, though.
Well, but the electorate, it's being reflective in this idea that it's always been, well, it's Trump and that's the only reason. But as I pointed out earlier,
it's like, you go, girl. And it's like, no.
Nate Silver released his latest heavily influenced metric of the entire election.
You can take
and right now it stands at Trump 52, Harris 47. And that's probably correct.
I actually think it'll get further. Because between now and November, she's only going to go down. Every interview, every interaction, every opportunity that there is where she would have to potentially think, go off script, not be able to just recite talking points, it's not going to work.
And this is why you have this moment right here, which was probably the highlight of the conversation when talking about the environment, which apparently was just this huge thing that she cared about. And this is the response.
That the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have.
That's the same thing we just played.
Yeah, I thought it was another clip.
Yeah, no.
Colin, I thought you had another clip. I thought that there was one other one that was out there.
We don't need to watch two of her, really. It's not good. The fact that she has to have him sitting there is pathetic. Pathetic. And the fact that they're trying to sell that in any way, shape, or form as anything other than she needs like a whoopee is just not working.
Just the idea that she sat down with Governor Walz and
they're trying to sell it like somehow it was to help him. He doesn't need that.
Not at all.
He doesn't need a whoopee.
And the worst thing about it is that he's a much better candidate than she is.
Well, for sure.
And he's actually done some pretty good things in Minnesota. I don't agree with everything he's done.
Well, he has executive branch experience. How about that? How about somebody having executive branch experience?
That's a very good point. Because most people think of Kamala as the president right now, because they sure as hell don't think Joe
well,
is.
And the people, your AOCs and your people that are falling in line are basically going to go with this idea of, well, she's just the vice president. It's not like she could do anything. You know what? You have a mouth, then you can do something. I don't hear you talking. I don't hear you using it. Then you're just going to fall in line. Why would I want to elect somebody as leader of the free world who just feels the need to fall in line?
You know, it's remarkable. I actually have been looking at a number of Nixon clips recently, and it's amazing. And he wasn't a very highly educated person, but even he could really speak. And it's incredible how much we have fallen. She's
just going to come off more and more incapable between now and November. So whatever that number is that you gave, it's only going to widen.
And this whole vibe thing, it doesn't work.
No, it only works with a very small, it works with the same sycophantic people that were all excited about Hillary breaking the glass ceiling. Same people.
And the other thing that also isn't getting talked about enough, which I still maintain is what is ultimately going to bury her when Trump really sinks his teeth in, is the fact that she was a horrifically bad attorney general of California.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the things that she did when it came to prison labor and when it came to people during the housing crisis being kicked out of their homes, and Steve Mnuchin, who was probably the most high-profile guilty party. And not only did she not prosecute him when it was instructed by her attorney general's office to do so, he gave a substantial financial contribution to her Senate campaign. And that is the only Democrat Steve Mnuchin has ever donated to.
It's not a good look.
Not going to be able to walk that one back.